This is the County Fair on Waycross Community Media. I'm Kurt Radel of Waycross Community Media. Today we feature MetroNow. Our special guest is Brad Mason, the Director of Communications for Cincinnati Metro. Brad, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Well, easy question comes first. What is MetroNow?
MetroNow is what we call an on-demand service in the transit industry. So think about Uber, Lyft, services like that you are able to go on an app, say where you want to go, it'll come to your door, wherever you're at, pick you up, and then take you to your next location. So it's using that type of model, but we do it a little bit differently. It comes in a van size, and it can pick up other people along the way if it needs to. But the trick here is it's the cost. It's only $2 to use this service. So when you think about using something like Uber or Lyft, you're looking at $20+ dollars to get a ride somewhere. But this is $2 each way.
Now, when was the program launched?
So it was launched in May of 2023. So since then, we started in 2 pilot zones, one in the Northgate area and the other one in the Sharonville, Springdale area. And we saw great success in those 2 pilot zones, and we've actually expanded those out a little bit more since starting them in May of 2023.
Now, what was the idea to start this? How did you talked about what it is, but why was it launched?
So this is all part of the Reinventing Metro plan. If you recall, in 2020, the citizens of Hamilton County passed Issue 7, and that allowed and gave more money into Metro to be able to start expanding its services, expanding its routes, and MetroNow is a part of that. And so the thought behind it is also to connect people where they may not be able to get to. You can think about, there isn't a bus route or a line close to me. Well, you could also take one of these and get to a regular mainline bus from here. It's also getting people to places that matter to them. Think about getting to Kroger or your hospital, doctor visits. Things that were difficult before now are much easier to get to.
Now, let's get into the logistics. Being in the fact is, let's say I'm at my house, they can come to my house, or there's another option. How does that work?
So you use the app is what it is. So if you're familiar, again, with something like Uber or Lyft, you can download the app, or you can call for a service too, and they will come and pick you up. But the cool thing with the app is you can track it, see where it's going, see when it's going to get to you. And then once you see it arrive, it pulls right up, you get into it, and you're on your way.
I think it's a pretty neat thing. Now, we should stress when you say $2, that's one way.
Correct.
So if you go to the doctor's office, that's $2. Now, if you're coming back home, that's another $2.
Yeah, you're right, yes.
Which is still a very great bargain.
Right. As I said before, you were looking, that full trip could have been $40 before. Now we're looking at $4.
Now, you're talking about expansion of the routes, and you're looking at, if I understand, late 2024, early 2025. Is that pretty much on target?
Yeah, we're on pace for that. So we have a few other areas that we're going to test pilot zones in as well. So as I mentioned, the ones before, those were our first testing pilot zones, and they expanded out. So the great thing is we started, one of the zones extended into Forest Park a little bit. The other one extended down and started picking up the Clovernook Center for the Blind and the Coleraine Senior Center too. So that was our first initial expansion with this, but we're going to have more zones pop up too. We're looking at Pleasant Run North, Montfort Heights, Blue Ash, Evendale area, and then the Bond Hill, Roselawn area too.
Looking at those particular routes, is this something that research said, hey, this is where we should go? How did you come up with those routes?
Yeah, we came up with those based off of current transit service, and then also thinking about jobs and locations too. So what and where people are going in those areas and where they need assistance in going. So think about, we mentioned Blue Ash. It's such a growing, thriving job center in the region. We have jobs up in the Coleraine area too. So we really want to start connecting people to the things that matter to them and where they need to go.
Brad, in the Fairfield area, there are a number of people who have jobs in Hamilton. They don't have this type of service, so they're walking to the jobs or doing whatever way they can. So you really are helping those being able to go to work, be on time, and everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's our mission at Metro, is to get people where they need to go, the things that matter to them most, connectivity. And that was all part of the Reinventing Metro plan, is how can we do that better? And implementing services like MetroNow is one of those.
Now, what are you hearing from the riders?
They love it. They want more of it. is what we've heard. And so that's part of our expansion. And, how can we build out the system even more? Back in March of 2017, as I mentioned, we expanded zones. We also expanded times that it's available. So now you can catch it on weekdays from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. or on the weekends and holidays from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. So previously, the time frames were a little bit shorter than that too.
I think it's a real plus when you're talking about the weekends and the holidays, because people's lives just don't stop 5 o'clock on a Friday night.
Exactly. I know that personally too. Parent, young kids, we're always moving around. We always have something to do. Jobs don't stop on the weekends either. The things that people want to do don't stop on the weekends. So having the service extend out during the weekend is great.
Now, you talked about the routes that you're looking at. Will you take input from citizens about, hey, I'm over here. Will you start doing it for me?
We're always open for feedback at Metro. We love hearing from personal stories of what people need in our service. So it's a different location within Hamilton County says, hey, we want it here. We're open to listen to it.
And I'm sure you're connecting to the different government agencies to say, hey, in the city of Forest Park, what can we do here? Coleraine Township, Springfield Township. I'm sure you're working with them too.
Oh, absolutely. We have great relationships with all the different municipalities and communities here in Hamilton County. And it's really, the relationships have grown as well too. So recently we actually launched our Metro Transit Infrastructure Fund grants. And that's a system where municipalities can get funds from Metro as part of the Issue 7 levy, where 25% of the funds were dedicated to what we call transit-oriented development. And that's roadways, sidewalks, bridges. And what happens is these communities submit projects to it. And then they apply for funding, and we're able to deliver that funding to them. So our relationships with these communities continue to grow.
Now, are there other cities around the country doing this type of service?
For MetroNow, yeah, it's not a completely new model. There's on-demand services across the country. We took it here, and I think our approach to it was a little bit different with our pilot zones and really wanting to test it out, see if it worked, see the response to it, and really grow it from there instead of just like going full on with it.
Demographically speaking, are you seeing a lot of senior citizens, younger people? How's that work out?
There are a lot of senior citizens connecting to going to restaurants, going to get the groceries, going to hospital, doctor visits, but that's not it. Like, there are people connecting to schools here. There are people connecting to their jobs, as I said earlier. So it's a wide range of people using the surface and connecting into other bus lines. So it's really being used as a connector.
I think it's a great service, and you're talking about expansion late 2024, early 2025. Is that pretty much still on target?
Yes, that's still on target at this point, and we're eyeing up those different zones.
Brad, thank you so very much for joining us and updating us on what MetroNow exclamation point is.
Thank you.
Did I get it right?
You got it.
I got it right. This has been the County Fair. I'm Kurt Radel, Waycross Community Media. We'll see you next time.